Hey, how's it going? I'm here sitting at the drums. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California, and I just wanted to share a little story with you. And I think you'll find this interesting. So, sometimes music and the drums is not always about getting the gig and doing this and doing that. It's kind of a spiritual path that leads you to certain places that you didn't expect to be in. So, I'm going to share with you a story how the drums led me to one of many interesting situations. I had this job playing drums at a Jewish temple for Shabbat services every Saturday afternoon. And this was for about 5 years or so. And it was really neat because the drums were already set up and we would improvise the service based around the songs that they sang. And I played mostly brushes, and it was a nice vibe it created, and it made for a really nice Saturday morning. And there were some interesting members of that particular temple, and one of them was David Mamet, the playwright. And if you don't know who David Mamet is, you can look him up. Very famous, and he's written some of my favorite movies, and he's also a playwright. But we kind of bonded a little bit, not too much, kind of acquaintances around martial arts. He was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I have a black belt in FMA and Kali, Filipino martial arts. And he knew my instructor, Guru Dan Inosanto, and we were both jazz fans too. So we had some things in common, and I'm from Chicago. So anyways, he's from Chicago, obviously, and we would talk like in between services when there was a little break and there was a coffee and, just brief stuff about martial arts and various training that he had done. And he was cool, very cool. And so for a while, we were sort of threatening to play some music together because he told me he played jazz piano. And so one day, the opportunity popped up. There was a break, and we were there, and David was hanging out at the bar, and we were having a coffee or a cappuccino or something. And I said, "Hey, David, come on, man. The sanctuary is open, and they have a grand piano in there, and the drums are set up." I go, "Let's go play for a minute." And he said, "Sure." So we went into the sanctuary, and he sat down at the piano and started to play a little bit, and I kept time with some brushes. And as I was keeping time, just kind of a medium tempo, he was sort of playing some nothing specific, He might have been playing some kind of tune or something, or maybe just a blues, I don't remember. But we got into a little groove, and the sound man, my friend Gal, he came over, and he was kind of just hanging out listening to this whole thing. And so we just kind of played for a little bit, and I was like, "Man, this is great. I'm playing jazz with David Mamet. This is fantastic." And I'm sure he appreciated having somebody who could, hold down some time for him so he could do his thing. And he kind of got into a groove, and it was really cool. And then something really kind of interesting happened. This kind of energy came into the room. And next thing I know, David is doing a monologue, accompanying himself with the piano. And I was playing brushes along with it. And all of a sudden we had some magic happening. And I looked at Gal, who was standing there just going, his mouth was kind of hanging open. And I looked at him and I was like, "Yep, this is a moment." And there was no one else in there. It was just an empty synagogue and empty chairs and just some magic happening. And so David went on for a little while. And I wish I had a recording of this, but I didn't think to record it because, sometimes you can't capture lightning in a bottle or magic. It just sort of happens, So he kept improvising for a little bit, and then it sort of just fell apart, and it was over. And, we just kind of got up and walked out. But later on, I realized, I'm like, wow, that was incredible. Here's one of the great playwrights of, the last 40 years or so, maybe more, and one of the great screenwriters. This guy's done a lot of stuff. And we had a little nice moment that I wish some people would have heard. But that's sort of how my life goes, It hasn't always been about getting gigs or accomplishments. It's been about these little moments that sort of come together. And, one of the ways that this happens is that I continually do my thing. And I have a practice that I do, which is sort of a spiritual practice with my various hobbies and, passions and arts. And I keep going with it, man. And just like, those are the moments that you live for. I got a private monologue from David Mamet while we were playing some jazz, with no one else around. And that sort of fills you up. It makes you think, yeah, I'm on the right path, So anyways, that's my little drum story for today. And I have a lot more of them. It's pretty interesting, the life I've had and where the drums have taken me. And I'll be sharing more as we go on. But I just wanted to share that story with you and tell you about a great moment that I had on my journey with rhythm and timing and body motion and perseverance. You wind up in some interesting places. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. And thanks for listening. This is my new Ruff to Roll chart drum course available on Gumroad. You can find the link in the description below. Please like, subscribe, and share. I am also available for private lessons, seminars, and consultations. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.